The story of British rule in India is quite fascinating. Namaste. Let's dive into this untold story and see how it all began and lasted for 2 centuries. It all started in 1498 when Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to India. The Portuguese came in India for spices, but their arrival attracted other European powers to India. The French, Dutch, and especially the British all had their eyes on India's wealth. But how did the British manage to establish their rule? This is where the East India Company comes in, which initially was just a trading company but soon became a powerful political entity. The East India Company used a blend of diplomacy, deception, and force to establish trading posts and gradually increase their control. They instigated local rulers against each other, and in no time they became not just traders but rulers. British rule in India was a complex web of alliances and conflicts. Indian rulers were often caught in power struggles, and ordinary people faced a new kind of rule. Taxes were high, and traditional industries were disrupted, leading to widespread hardship. However, the British also brought with them railways, education, and new administrative methods. The introduction of railways, telegraphs, and a Western-style education system transformed Indian society. This story is full of contradictions: exploitation and modernization, oppression and progress. One of the most interesting facts about the East India Company is that it was a company with its own army, one of the largest armies in the world. Imagine a company running a country. For nearly 2 centuries, British rule shaped India's destiny in ways that still resonate today. From Vasco da Gama's first voyage to the East India Company's intricate strategies, the story of British rule in India is a fascinating chapter in history. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 and the Battle of Buxar in 1764 helped the British establish control over Bengal and Bihar. With the Regulating Act of 1773, Warren Hastings was appointed the first Governor-General of India. Following this, after the rebel of 1857 in 1858, India came directly under the British Crown, marking the beginning of the British Raj. The British Crown took several steps to consolidate its rule in India. They entered into treaties with Indian princely states and further strengthened their administrative machinery. The British rule in India was not just about conquest and control. It was a calculated strategy of power and governance. The British implemented various laws and policies that fundamentally altered the Indian society and economy. I repeat, one of the most significant steps was the introduction of the Regulating Act of 1773, which aimed to bring order to the administration of the East India Company. This act marked the beginning of British parliamentary control over the company, setting the stage for more direct governance. Following the Regulating Act, the British introduced a series of legal reforms to consolidate their power. Lord Cornwallis introduced the Cornwallis Code in 1793, which brought about administrative and judicial, and it reformed the judicial system and established a structured bureaucracy, laying down the foundation for British administration in India. These reforms were designed to create a sense of stability and predictability, but they also served to entrench British authority. However, the British rule was not without its resistance. The Sepoy Mutiny of 1857 was a significant rebellion against British policies and practices. It was a turning point, highlighting Indian resentment against British rule. This uprising, though ultimately unsuccessful, revealed the deep-seated discontent among Indians. In response to the mutiny, the British Crown assumed direct control over India in 1858, marking the end of the East India Company's rule and the beginning of the British Raj. To further strengthen their rule, the British entered into treaties with Indian princely states, ensuring their loyalty in exchange for autonomy. This strategy created a network of alliances that helped maintain British dominance. The administrative machinery was further bolstered with the introduction of the Indian Civil Service, which recruited British and Indian officials to implement colonial policies. Despite the oppressive nature of British rule, it also brought about certain modernizations. These changes, while aimed at serving British interests, also sowed the seeds for a burgeoning nationalist movement. The Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, became the platform for Indian aspirations for self-rule, laying the foundation for the independence movement. Cruelty, like the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in 1919 and the Dandi March in 1930, galvanized public opinion against British rule. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre in 1919 further intensified the struggle for independence. The Dandi March, led by Mahatma Gandhi in 1930, marked the protest against British salt laws. The Quit India movement in 1942 further intensified the demand for independence, further strengthened the mass movement against British rule. Finally, after decades of struggle, India gained independence on August 15, 1947, and the British Raj came to an end. The strategies of power and control that the British employed had ultimately failed to suppress the spirit of Indian nationalism. The legacy of British rule is a complex tapestry of exploitation and modernization, oppression and progress. If you found this deep dive into British strategies of power intriguing, make sure to subscribe for more fascinating historical tales. Thank you for watching.